Ahinke, it's so good to have you here.
Thank you.
I know that you are a very busy woman, so thank you for honoring this invitation.
Thank you for inviting me.
So who is Ahinke? I want our viewers to know who you are. Just tell us who you are. Who is Ahinke? Who is Kunbi Olalere? But I know a lot of people know you as Ahinke.
Yes, I was going to start with my full name. Like this Kunbi Olalere. Ahinke, I'm a very God-fearing, confident, self-driven entrepreneur. I am this easygoing, focused, and I just personally, for me, I'm just this soft, confident person. So yeah, that's basically who I am. I focus on things that I want to do. I am this easy to speak to, easy to interact with, easy to. A lot of people actually think I could be very uptight, but yes, I am this soft girl, basically.
Aww, I love that. And you know, a lot of girls don't like to say that they are soft, but it's actually a feminine side of us, and I think we should embrace it. So
Exactly.
I love that you're owning up to that.
Absolutely.
So Kunbi, you own Ahinke's Kitchen. You have some beauty brands. You know, you do different things. Like, when did you start to understand who you are? When did you wake up to that life of, you know, there is more and I want to embrace it? You know, that question of awakening. When did you awaken to more possibilities in your life?
That's a very interesting question. So for me, I think that would be in 2016. I had just had my second child, and I was way overweight. I was having too many medical complications. I was having high blood pressure. I was having problems with my knee.
Wow.
It was really, really bad at that point. And I just knew. I just know that I wanted to feel better. I knew I wanted to be who I was supposed to be. I couldn't identify myself in the midst of like the whole family cures, having kids, raising kids. I just got lost in that. In all of that drama, just got totally lost.
Tell me about it.
So yeah, at that point, I knew that there were people who could help you. You know, like I've always been this kind of person who would want to know more, who would go in and try to research, try to figure things out. So that was my first go-to. I was like, okay, I need to go find who is going to help me shed out this weight. So the weight was the first thing for me. I had like a low self-esteem at that point. Because I could not relate myself to anything that I used to be. So I'm like, at this point, I guess I have to grow into something different. So where do I start?
Wow.
And that was when a friend of mine connected me to Moshokwe.
Bethel Fit Mom. Yeah, she's amazing.
That was my very first fitness coach.
Wow.
And when I connected with her, I took our first class. When I took that class, that was like, and I had to show up every day. I think for me, that was where it all started. The point that I had to show up for myself, I had to show up and be accountable for the things that I said I wanted to see. So then, I think the class was about 6 weeks. I can't really remember.
Yeah, it's about 6 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, so after the 6 weeks, I did not see any results. Then I was like, oh my God, like I did everything that I was supposed to do, but then that's the part where you plant the seed, right? You really don't get to see it yet because it takes a whole lot of process before you get to that point.
Yes.
So I planted that seed then, and I decided, well, I'm not going to give up. If I can see other people lose the weight, if I can see women who are out there looking the way I want to look, feeling the way I want to feel, because for me it was more from the inside than actually how it was on the outside.
Wow.
So even though a lot of people would see me then and say, oh, but you're just perfect how you are. I'm like, I don't feel that perfection from the inside.
Yeah.
And if I don't feel it, I can't really be or be at the maximum point of what I'm supposed to deliver to the
True.
world. So went on and did more research. In my research, I got into supplements. I got into choosing different supplements, deciding on which one is clean or not. Like that just started building. And then moments I started feeling different, because I didn't see the weight share at first. I felt different. My whole body felt different.
So it starts from the inside.
So it started from the inside. And then all of that was happening too when I had to be strong for myself, when I had to remind myself who I am, when I had to work on my own confidence, work on my own mindset. Because if you're going to do anything in life, it has, even if it's on business, your life, financial, family, no matter what it is, it first had to start with how you think about it, how you see it from the inside.
So true.
Your mindset. So then I started working on my mindset. I have never been the type that used to read books. I would rather just stay away from book. But funny how I started get connected. I went for Tony Robbins' show. He had a show in. He had a show in Edmonton.
Okay.
A friend of mine told me about it. I registered for it, and that was it for me.
The turning point.
I was like,
wow.
Oh my God.
Like, is there a better life?
Like everyone beside me, everyone in front of me, the energy, the vibe. I was like, I don't want to be anywhere than this. Like, I want to be with people like this. I want to grow with people like this. I want to shift my whole life around. Like the seminar was amazing.
I've never been to any Tony Robbins seminar, but I hear about the energy.
The energy is intense. Like it was the point where I started to, right at that seminar, I was writing down everything I wanted for myself. I wasn't the type that would write. I started because when you get the introduction for the seminar, it kind of gave you all the breakdown of what you need. You need to bring a book, you need to do this and that and all of that. And for me, that was my breaking point. I sectioned out everything about my life, my finances, my health, my goals, my plans, all of that, my family.
Oh my goodness.
It just bloomed. I kept writing and did not stop. It was a 2-day event and it was great. Yeah, so that was basically
so that was the beginning of your journey. I love it. I love it. And you know what I love about it is because you understand that you are a unified entity. Mm-hmm. You are not just your job or your health. At that time, it was your health that gave you the awakening. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited about this because Unmask Your Beauty book talks about the awakening. And a lot of, I shared my awakening through my career. My awakening happened through my career that I wasn't happy about. But yours is health. And that's what I've written in the book, that it could be your finance, it could be your health. There's something that will just wake you up. Like, girl, you're sleeping. What is happening?
Yes.
There's a better life out there.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that you saw it as a unified thing, and you didn't just work on your weight alone. You worked on your weight, but then it also opened up the possibilities of, okay, if my weight loss journey started in the mind, then every other area of my life can bloom as well.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
That is it.
Okay, so you've told us about your awakening journey. So from that awakening, what were the things, were you able to come up with a compelling vision in the different areas of your life? And what are the things you started to create based on that?
So at that point, I was still working my 9-to-5 job.
What job was that?
So I was working as a family counselor.
Oh,
and
did you study psychology?
Yeah, I did. Well, I did sociology and psychology in university.
Okay, love it.
And it was a really good job. I enjoyed it, but I knew that. I enjoyed the fact that I could attend to families, I could help them with any situations. We talk about culture. Coming from the background that I come from, we're very focused on culture, and here, majority of people who grew up in this part of the world kind of detached from the fact that no matter how small the household is, there's always a culture. So I enjoyed that job, I enjoyed that part, but I just felt disconnected. There was that, I had 99%, but there was that 1% that was missing. And after I went for that show, I knew that, okay, I wanted to fill that 1%. I wanted that gap to be filled. So how and where am I going to start the journey from? So at that point, I hired more coaches. I knew at like the very early stage of my life, from that moment, I knew the purpose of having a coach. I knew the purpose of having a mentor. I have mentors that don't even know my name. I have people that their mail list, I'm waiting for their mails to come in. I have that they don't even know that I exist. Like, I'll buy their courses, of course, a million other people who did, but those people have been touching my lives like daily, monthly. So I've had to key myself to the things that the experience I had at Tony Robbins' show. I had to key myself to that. Like, everyone I meet, every step, everywhere I go, I have to always feel that feeling that I felt that day. So if I'm not feeling that feeling, then it's not really, it's not entering, it's not meeting up. And from there, I knew I needed to keep my job. For a whole month, I was telling my co-workers, I'm like, I'm quitting this job. My boss would pass here. I'm quitting this job. I'm gonna start up this. Then I absolutely love braiding. Like, it's been in me. Like, anyone that knows me way back, I love making hair. I love women beauty. I love how the look comes out and everyone is like, oh, this hair is so beautiful, and the comments and all those things. So I had a huge dream of I was gonna have like a truck salon. Those
mobile salons.
Like, I had a huge goal for that. But in the midst of it, I also had family challenges. And after I quit my job, my family challenge kind of pulled everything backward. And I had to sit down and think again and say, what do I need to do at this point? And I've always also been this person that anyone is having an event among my friends and family, I'm the one cooking. I'm taking charge. Like, because of the love I had for food and sharing food with people, I joined several communities in university days. Like, I was in the international student community just because of the potluck. I would showcase Nigerian food anywhere, anytime. Like, bravely, they'll be like, Nigerians is me, don't worry, we'll cook that food like wood. So I've always just enjoyed to be in those activities. Then my family was like, well, maybe the best thing for you to do is to start cooking. I'm like, cooking? What do I want to start, like, cooking? Who wants to be cooking? And for the longest, I'm like, I want to make hair. I want to be braiding for people. Like, I enjoy this thing. I can braid 8 people's hair. Is that, like, literally. When I was in high school, I was those girls that I had friends because I could braid. And like, people would literally, I'll be like, don't worry, I'll braid your own right after this person. So I had all that energy going on with me. And when I started my business, I knew for sure that I need to first find myself, because at all of this, I had the family issues too going on. I went back to like almost zero, when I had my family issues and I was separated and things were just happening like back to back, for my marriage, for my kids, for myself.
And you had left your job at the time.
And I'd left my job at this time.
Wow.
So now it's making that decision. So the first thing again is always to find who is going to help me. I'm this kind of person that I do not sit in my own thoughts if I can't figure out the situation.
I love that.
You know, like I would not just say, I would just manage it or shrink in.
The solution.
There's always solution out there from the next person. And I always want to make sure that I trust the next person that I'm giving those information to in order to get value. So luckily, I had friends who were interested in buying my food. But then I have friends who were interested in buying the food too.
Course. There would always be that. Just saying.
So after like a couple of weeks cooking and not really saying anything, I decided there's social media, there's Instagram. And during this process too, guys, remember I was working on my look. Yeah. I was working on my weight. So my whole page from the beginning of Ahinke's Kitchen, which I did not delete, you would see like my own plates, like the food that I was eating. So I decided I was gonna just start posting the food I'm eating online to hold myself accountable.
Yes.
That's where Ahinke's Kitchen started from. It wasn't to cook food for everybody. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, so
wow.
Yeah, so until everyone started to get interested, took a whole month. It took 3 months. Sorry, it took 3 months of cooking every day. When I decided I was going to do Ahinke's Kitchen, 3 months straight, I didn't have any customer, nothing. But I was like, I'm gonna keep cooking every day, no matter how small it is. Even if it's fried egg, I'm gonna fry that egg online. Even if it's cooked white rice, I'm gonna cook white rice online. So I kept showing up and showing up and showing up, and that's because I had people who held me accountable. I had the little change that I had put into other people's pockets to hold me accountable to my goals. That is my strength. That's what motivates me to get things done faster than thinking about it and trying to figure it out myself.
Yeah, wow. So you mentioned so many things that are really, really like, I'm like, but all the butterflies in my tummy are just coming out. But one, how did you even get the mindset to to invest in yourself? Because a lot of people are still at that stage where they're like, you know what, we're gonna Google it out, we're gonna, you know, and they're stuck in the same situation for a very long time. It takes a mindset shift to pay for coaches, to pay for personal. I don't want to use that word pay. To invest in yourself, you know, so that such that you're investing in coaches, investing in coaching, investing in seminars and conferences. Like how did you get to that level where you loved yourself so much that, you know, you decided to invest in yourself?
So for me, I think it was all about the motivational speakers that I would. So everyone goes online. I Googled. I researched. Like I did the same thing every other person would do. I held on and I'm like, I'm not going to put my money. Like, I could just read and keep reading and keep studying. But then my favorite spiritual motivational coach is Sarah Jakes. She talks a lot about investing in herself.
I love Sarah.
She talks about investing in herself so much that I'm just like, okay. And I listen to her. I listen to all her broadcasts. I listen to all her videos. Like she's like, she doesn't even know she has a sister somewhere. So when it comes to investing money in myself, I first had to go through the process of finding myself and loving myself. So I had to get to the point where I'm like, what's the most priority thing that I need to do right now? I had to write out, I had to make sure that, okay, I'm putting myself at the top. And I'm like, how do I want to get to the place that I need to get to without being worn out? Like, I have kids to take care of. You can't be online.
Wisdom. Wisdom.
See, before I started, let me say, God, the prayer, like, prayer is the key. I felt like the amount of times that I kept going into praying and praying and praying and praying, I kept attracting the things that I need to see, the things that need to align me towards the direction that I need to go. Yeah. So that was it for me. So when I knew that, and then when the Holy Spirit speaks to you, it's almost like, let me waive it. No, it cannot be. I got that money that I'm supposed to use to buy something that I've already lined up. The money that's not even come. And then I expect that it's from that money that I'm going to. But then he said he would supply our needs according to his riches and glory. So no matter, at that point, I would see passages. It was funny because for me, I connect easily to passage. Like I would be thinking about something and the word of God, like passages. I'll open my Bible and it will be exactly my problem. It was like a living testimony of the things that I'm experiencing. And when I see that, then I know that God is involved in whatever I'm going to do. So if I'm going to use that money to do something else than what it was supposed to be for, if it was to invest in myself, then it's for the betterment of my family, for me, for my growth, for my future. So that's how I kept on. I think that wake, that drive that made me invest and invest and invest in different places. And I wish I can even still invest more than I am doing right now, is because every time I have this vision of, okay, this is the next thing I want to do,
Yeah.
and I know that I need help to get
Yeah.
to that vision,
Yeah.
I'm stepping back and saying, okay, God, where do I go?
Take the wheel.
Like, you know, like this wheel, this whole thing. And I would go through a couple of different coaches, couple of different seminars, couple of conferences. I've been to a lot of conferences. Like, I'm that kind of person that
You are a wise woman. That's like the summary of everything is that you are a wise woman. Because I see so much of myself in you. I never get to a stage where I'm like, I know it all. No, if there's something in you that is attracting me, that is inspiring me,
I must follow.
I'm gonna follow you. I'm gonna buy your course. I'm gonna attend your conference. I am going to grow. I am going to grow into that woman that I aspire to be. And it takes self-love.
It
You need
does.
to extremely love yourself, like passionately love yourself to be able to invest in yourself that way. I love it, and I hope someone out there is getting this, because it is my superpower, and I do self-love. Self-love, yes,
It's key.
it is key.
It's key. And
Wow.
there will be times too that there will be that fear, that dread right behind it that will tell you, you know what, you can be slow, you can take that step slower, you can chill, you can wait till like the next month, you can. When those things come, you need to be able to understand that you are greater than your fears.
Exactly. Wow, I'm learning. I'm learning right here.
I write them
They
out.
don't
They
belong-
don't belong inside of me.
Inside of you.
No.
You're too much of a total package.
Too
Like,
much. I can't stand it. So I write it out, and then when I write it out, I rewrite the story. So this is what the story is. What do I want to see the story to be like? Then rewriting that story, it takes a lot of time, because then you're thinking about, okay, what else do I want? I don't want this thing to happen this way. How do I want it to happen? And you have to be genuine with yourself. It can't just be that you just write a few things. Like, you have to pour out yourself. So that you can release that
Journal.
weight, you know, write it out, free yourself from whatever it is. And think again, what else is still holding me back? Because you're a baby girl. What else is holding you back?
You
What else is
cannot
holding?
stay in a position. You have to
can't.
grow.
Yes, and for me, that's my superpower. The fact that I can come to that stage where I'm like, this is how I'm feeling right now, and I need to write everything down and rewrite that story.
Wow.
And then keep repeating that rewritten story to myself over and over.
So that it
and over
becomes
again.
you.
So it becomes
Oh
me.
my God, I love it.
And it does.
Kumbi,
It always does.
Kumbi,
It's
I
a
love it. You don't
breakthrough.
even know lives that you are liberating now, because we all have fears.
Mm-hmm.
But even the process you have just described, write it down, lay down all your fears,
Mm-hmm.
be authentic, be truthful to yourself. Don't deny anything. Write it and rewrite the story. And start living it. Be consistent with that rewritten story. Powerful,
And
powerful.
It's a whole different level to it. It's a whole, for me, it's a whole process to stick to what you've like that rewritten story.
Yes, you need to believe
Like, you
it.
have to solidly believe in what you're saying. Like, you have to live by it. You have to live that example. I would read it. I would wake up in the morning and read it. I would write it on my wall. I would write it in my bathroom. I would write it on my phone. I write it as a reminder. I write them in points and put them everywhere.
The
Like,
power of intentionality
It
is
is.
what I'm seeing here. Is the summary of what I'm seeing here. So, and I really love the story behind Ahinke's kitchen, by the way. And think you need to share it more. The story behind Ahinke's kitchen. You started it because you wanted to live a healthier life. You saw the weight, and I love those pictures you showed me before this meeting. I think people need to see it, that it's beyond cooking, just like everyone is doing. You want people to live a healthy life because you believe that it also starts from the mind. So you are about, people being happy, living a healthy life, being happy. And you also believe that food unites family. There's a lot behind your brand that I need you to bring out more. But outside of that, Can you tell me like what was your childhood like? What was your childhood like, and how have some of those experiences shaped the woman that you are today? Because I like to always go back to the childhood, because I know that a lot of times is the root cause of a lot of our fears, a lot of our limiting beliefs, and all of that. So I want you to shed some light on that.
Apparently, I would believe that 90% of our fears, our limiting beliefs, or what a child would even become, it's how the childhood, and it's how your childhood was molded. It's the foundation that really creates who you become in life. And for me, I come from a family of 12.
Wow.
And
12 children.
yes, and I was the ninth, so I wasn't special in any way. Like, I was one of those kids
Noticed.
I was not noticed. But the only thing special about me was I was my mom's first daughter. Okay. So being mommy's first daughter was the only thing
you could hold on to.
Living in a large family like that, like I grew up with five sisters and 6 brothers, so it was 6 in division. Okay. And we would cook together, we'd do all these things together. Like, it was always a party in my house if there was something happening, and the family is always enough. But in the midst of that, I could never identify myself in that family. Like, I was invisible. I wasn't the type that would have the time to sit to my parents. I've spoken to some people where they go, oh, we're just 5, and that 5 is just mom, dad, and the 5 of us. And you have that connection with your parents. You had that. I learned from everybody, from aunties, from uncles, it was like a village. They raised child, yeah. Yes. And because of that, it really matters a lot when it comes to my growth and what I've molded myself to be. And every time I have that fears or limiting beliefs, I could easily attach it to my childhood and where it was coming from, because this is how I've lived my life. Oh, wow. And these are the people in my surroundings, yes. And how they have lived their own life, yes. The things you would accept because this is how you were raised. It just becomes a norm. So those things, sometimes you have to unlearn them and rebuild yourself to who you really want to be. So yeah, my childhood was a whole lot. It's a whole lot, but that's just a little background of like what it looks like being in that huge family, yeah. And also being invisible, yeah. Being the child and I wasn't the smart child, so that was another thing too.
You mean academic smart?
Academic smart, yes. Okay, I'm very smart.
Book smart.
At book smart, yeah, I wasn't
because
the book
that was
smart.
Really celebrated.
That was
back
celebrated
home.
Back home. That was the deal, yeah, back home.
Yeah.
I was the child that would be coming back from school and go, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh my God, my report card is here. My parents are going to be angry. And go and hide and wait. And so I had all that fear too. So it made me, I couldn't speak. My words were compressed. I had limited voice in my family because of my academic grades. So that matters a lot on who is going to talk. Mm-hmm. And even moving on, I kind of carried myself to that person where I would rather just sit at the back and not say anything and let those who just
because you're not good enough.
Because I wasn't good enough. I had that it was a thing with me that I'm not good enough to speak out. I'm not good enough to have an opinion. I'm not good enough to give you my side of the story. Yes. So I would rather just stick to whatever comes my way because that's who I was. So I would hold on to that for such a long time until I had to unlearn and break that barriers, because those things, it stick with me on every area of my life, to the point where when I was working, my first boss got me this book by T.D. Jakes, your inner instinct, if I can remember. Yeah, that's the name, Your Inner Instinct. And that book, literally, when I read that book, I'm like, could it be that everybody has to have like that inner instinct?
Like, are you sure I have it?
Are you sure?
I'm just there. Oh, just leave me.
Just leave me. I cannot think. So that when I read that book, I read it again after I quit my job, and then that was one of the books that made me started getting interested in reading more books and learning more from other people. And the moment I started tapping into other people's brains through the various ways that they've been able to give it out to the world, I started to build my own strength.
Confidence.
I started to build my own confidence. That's why anytime I'm talking about myself, I'm this confident woman. I can say anything I want to say as long as it's coming from my heart. Like it would flow and you will get it.
Your story inspires so many people. Well, I got to know you better when you joined the Unmask Your Beauty Mastermind. And my sister can't stop talking about you, by the way.
Aww.
She's like, I am so inspired by Ahinke because, I've been coaching her for a while. And she said, she has really gained a lot from the coaching, but this even buttressed it because she sees herself in you. So she says she doesn't see herself in me because she's always seen me as this confident woman since when we were little. But then she really sees herself. So what I'm trying to say here is when you share your story and you're authentic, you don't know the limiting beliefs you're breaking in people's lives. You don't know people you are setting free. When you decide to say, you know what, that is not the woman that I am. This is the woman I can become. And I am walking towards that woman that I want to become. It is powerful. Once you decide to live that intentional life of growth, you'll be amazed at how many lives you can touch.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how to live a better life. I don't know if there's a better life out there. If you're not living a life of purpose.
Going to there. So and for Ahinke's Kitchen, I got to the point where I took some courses, and then I was like, in all that courses, they kept. I never tapped into the fact that I needed to bring more value into my community, bring more value into, or create that purpose-driven. I just had the intention that if I'm going to quit my job, I have 2 kids. I'm a single mom. I have to feed myself. I'll take care of my kids. I have to make sure that my family, at least this small family that I have, is comfortable. And I'm not thrown out of my house. I have utility. So those were my focus then when I started Ahinke's Kitchen. But then, as time goes on, I started to realize, and taking different courses, I started to realize that I have something to give. Like, I cannot keep all of this to myself.
No, it's not for you.
It's not for me.
OMG.
So that kept coming, and that's what bettered Open Kitchen YYC. Because I'm like, I went through so much, like the journey of creating Ahinke's Kitchen. I started in 2018. The journey of creating Ahinke's Kitchen in 2 years almost shred my skin. Like,
I can see it because I saw how you came out powerfully. I saw the intention. I saw a woman with so much intentionality. I was like, no, all the jollof rice competition and all of that. I said, this woman is onto something.
Yes.
You don't just put yourself out like that. You need to believe in yourself.
Yes, you do. And that's for everyone out there. Like, it's not going to be easy. For me, it wasn't easy, and every other person can say, but you can't just give up or decide that this is the end of it. And that has to do with my I'm going to start my fitness journey, my health journey, all of those, my financial journey, my family growth journey, everything. You have to keep fighting for it. Like, you're not even, I tell myself every day, I'm not perfect, so I need to figure things out. I need to make sure that I keep going. I need to keep taking that step.
That's the way. You need to keep learning.
You need to keep learning.
So you can tell me about Open Kitchen YYC. What I see with Open Kitchen YYC is that is your way of giving. That is your benevolence expression. That's your expression of benevolence. So I want to hear more about it because I'm big on that, and I'm big on everyone having an expression of benevolence.
Okay, so Open Kitchen YYC started from the moment I realized that Ahinke's Kitchen had that breakthrough with restrictions. When it comes to food industry in this part of the world, like, there's so many rules and regulations that you need to put in place, and it's not just once, you constantly have to keep putting those things in place annually. 6 months, 1 year,
Wow.
like you have to continuously.
I know.
So at the point when I got to that stage where I felt like Ahinke's Kitchen was good,
Yeah.
Open Kitchen YYC was, well, I would say it was a message from God. At that point, I knew that if I went through everything I went through to set up Ahinke's Kitchen, there is another woman behind me or another man, because we have men as part of our of the community.
Yeah.
Another man who would want to start their own business. Like, why do they have to go through all of that? And my journey started by finding this company called Image Hub. Image Hub has been in Calgary for like almost 50 years, but then they shut down 6 months after I signed up with their company.
Okay.
So Image Hub, what they do literally was they help small businesses. They help you get to the stage that the next stage, what you need in your business.
Yeah.
The next.
Yeah.
So for me then, it was to find a kitchen.
Yeah.
I could not afford a kitchen. I could not build a kitchen.
Okay.
So I could not pay for a kitchen. I could not loan for a kitchen.
Yeah.
But I knew that somehow
Oh
I
my
have to
God.
find a kitchen.
Oh my
Because
God.
I'm not going to continue to cook in my house.
No.
After that 3 months, and then my customers started coming in,
Yeah.
I knew that the next step, I need to figure it out. I need to register my business. I need to, this has to, if I am going to do anything at the point where I was, it has to be big. It has to be it's not about me. It's
So
not
you
about,
you didn't have the physical resources like money and things.
I did not.
But you created it in your mind.
in my mind.
Because everything gets created twice. You need to first create it in your mind before you see it physically. You need to let go of anything that is letting you think, oh, there's no money. Oh, there's no anything that is letting you think it's impossible. You need to let go of it, create it in your mind, and you start to see how things, God will send resources to you and how things will come together.
That was it. And Image Hub was the resources that God sent to me. And by the time they closed down, it felt like I went back to God. I'm like, God, why did they close down? What's going to happen now that they've closed down? He was like, you're going to open your own. They have closed down now. You open yours, and then you will do the same thing that they used to do for other people, so they can have access to what you had access to in the platter of gold. It was very challenging because I would have to go from one person's kitchen to the other, even though my kitchen was registered under one kitchen.
Yeah.
I would if the kitchen is busy, then I need to find another one. But they were very helpful because they would go around and call around and see whose kitchen is available for me. So there will be times I'll get to the door of the kitchen and the owner is not there to open the door, and I have an order to fulfill. There were so many things.
My goodness.
Yes, and then the price too, and all of that. But the process that I went through, it wasn't having the money with me. It wasn't that I knew I was going to build up a place. It wasn't that I had that savings. I did not have the savings for Ahinke's Kitchen. I did not. But everything came as I continue to believe in my dreams, as I continue to believe that it's possible for me to get to where I want to go to. And I'm going to find the help along the way because God is with me.
Oh yeah.
So
I love that confidence. I love that confidence.
That's the same thing that I wanted the next woman that wants to start up a food business. That's the same thing I want them to have. If they don't have that resources, that not ending it there or thinking it's impossible at that point, there is
Wow.
there is hope.
Wow.
There is
hope. There is Open Kitchen YYC. Guys, if you are in the food industry and you are so, you don't know what to do, you don't even know, you have questions, you want to join that community. So is it a paid for community? Is it, how does it run?
So it's a membership community, but it's very affordable.
Yeah.
People, when you rent a kitchen outside, they're charging you like double the price of what Open Kitchen YYC will charge you. The goal is to make it. So for me was, what were my struggles? Now we have to make sure that struggle, the next person doesn't go through it. So if finance was my problem, using other people's kitchen, then how much would I want to pay that person? So we put that as the price.
Oh, I see.
So to make it easy for the next person to go even faster. It can,
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That's a community to know. That's a community to promote, and I will make sure we put this under, on the description box so that people know about it, know the awesomeness coming out of this amazing woman. Thank you so much. And I know you're also into other things, you have different expressions. We're going to be talking about those some other time, but I really do appreciate your time for coming today. Can you share a few growth tips for our viewers and our audience? Can you share some tips on growth, how we can grow daily into the woman we want to become?
So for me, one thing I'm going to say is that you have to focus on 3 things. The first thing, you have to believe in yourself every day. So every day you wake up, it's a new day for you to believe in yourself. Because, a lot happens in life that you can be something good can be happening in the next 5 minutes. In the next 10 minutes, something else is happening that is going to change your whole day. Don't let whatever the situation is, don't let it take over your mind, your thoughts, your decisions. Always remember, that would be the second thing, always remember to write it down. Write it down, no matter what it is. Write it down. If you feel good about it, write it down. If you feel bad about it, write it down. Yeah, I had to create a whole journal about almost everything. Like, I have journal for my kids. When my kids do something that excites me, I write it down because I want them to go back to it and read that journal. I have journal for my businesses. I have journal for my own personal life, my own journey in becoming who I am and who I want to be. So when you're able to write that down, you can always go back when you feel down. You can always go back and read those things that are going to uplift and motivate you to keep going.
So true.
So that's the second thing. The third thing, no matter what you believe in, God, universe, the head, whatever, hold on to your belief. Don't give up in your belief. Like, when you're believing, believe with your core. Have faith in your belief, because only faith can move that mountain.
Wow.
Only faith can move that mountain. So those are my 3 keys. As long as you do that, life happens to everybody.
Exactly. You're not the only one in your situation.
And it's not going to end.
It's not, exactly.
It's going to continue to happen.
So just embrace
yourself.
Embrace yourself. Embrace all these tips and all the tips we share in the Unmask Your Beauty series. And I don't know, I just feel that there's so many books inside of you.
There is.
With all this journal that you're keeping, I feel there's so many books. So watch out for Ahinke's books. Watch out for all the awesomeness that she's creating. I love the life you're living. I love how authentic it is. I love how you put so much passion into everything you do. And I hope you've gotten, lots of wisdom from this conversation today. So till our next video, stay beautiful.